All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another great, hey, it's the 26th of February. The market has definitely picked up a little bit. And today we are very fortunate from our Scottsdale office, the Kierland office, to have Miss Holly Hoepfner. Holly, welcome to the show. Hit star 6 so we can hear you, though. Star 6 on your phone.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
There you are. My pleasure.
Good
Thanks
morning.
for taking your time out this morning.
No
So
problem
tell us a
at
little
all.
about yourself, how long you've been doing this, all that good stuff, Holly, please.
Okay. Yeah, I started in the business in 2005. I moved to Arizona in early 90s, and I went to ASU and had a different career path kind of planned out, and then somehow I just fell into real estate. My mom was in real estate, or she still is, but with a different company, and she thought we could be partners, and so I went to real estate school, and then after taking real estate school, I just decided, working with your mom may not be the best option. So,
Yeah.
I know sometimes that just doesn't work out. So I found somebody who was looking for an assistant, and then so I was her assistant for about 6 months, and then she decided to change companies, which had like a expensive like $500 a month fee, which I didn't want to do yet, still being brand new in the business in like my early 20s, and so I stayed where I was with Century 21, and then once I got my business started with them, and then once they filed Chapter 13, then I moved over to Prudential, and then I've been with Prudential and Berkshire ever since they got bought out by Berkshire. So that's kind of my story and how I got into it, and just been doing it ever since. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what was just so they know, what was your original career path for college?
I majored in kinesiology. So I was going to be like an OT or a PT, something along those lines in healthcare.
Cool.
Yeah, and then I got my MBA in business administration as well. And then I just kind of went into real estate instead. But I think my MBA definitely helps me with this
of course.
industry as well. So, so that's what I was planning. And then I took a turn.
Cool.
So.
Cool. I think a lot of people, and I shouldn't say that, like a lot of people start off in the health industry and then they go into other things. And a lot of people today that go to college end up doing other things other than their major, which is kind of interesting. The job market's good. But what attracted you? Like you looked at real estate and you said, hey, I like this. What attracted you to real estate instead of the other avenues you could have gone down?
I liked I liked looking at houses. I liked still in both industries, I guess, like the ability to help people. And I did love the looking at homes and just kind of making your own schedule. That was like appealing to me, even though that kind of isn't really what it is. But
yeah.
But at the time, the flexibility, I guess,
right.
Was interesting to me, and just like I said, my mom was in it, so I kind of had an idea, and I was already helping her, like off and on as an unlicensed kind of assistant, helping her part time for extra money while I was in college and stuff like that. So.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, we have an education. We have and we do in Arizona too. We have a school to get people licensed. It's just a little bigger in Nevada, and we have classes here, and I go in and visit them and speak at them. And, I always tell them, for those people who think, well, I'm getting into the business because they're all coming out of other jobs to go into real estate, full-time or part-time or whatever. I always tell them, you can pick your schedule, just especially your first couple of years, pick any 60 hours a week you want. And work those.
Yeah, it's not as flexible as you think.
But once you're established like you, and then you can take vacations, you can do things, and it's like anything else. You're starting a business, you got to lay the foundation, and then eventually
Yes.
you can do, you have more freedom, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, once you definitely get more established, you can be a little more flexible.
Yes. All right. So I obviously picked you for a reason. You've been producing at a really good level for many years now. I think everybody would just love to hear how you do it, and first off, what is your goal for this year? How many would you like to do?
So my one bigger goal than just like monetarily or units or anything was I want to get my average sales price up. So last year it was like $660, and so I wanted to get it between $800 and $900 this year, and hopefully higher, keep going higher and higher, because I would like to start doing more luxury sales and getting into that sector. And then last year I did 11.5 million and 19 units, and I would love to do 15 million and like 22 units, because if I get my average sales price up, then I won't have to do as many units to get where I need to be.
Right.
So.
Right. And the average sale price in Scottsdale is actually helping you too, because it's going up a little. I mean, it went up a lot for 3-4 years, but then it's been going up a little since then too. So that's, especially since you started, right? The average sale price has probably quadrupled since when you started selling.
Oh yeah, I think the average sales price when I started was like $200,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
When I started for the company 10 years ago, the average sale price in Scottsdale was $250,000, and now properties sell for cash over asking that much.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's crazy.
Yes.
So all right, so 19 to 22, but also increasing your average sale price by like $150,000 at the same time. So where does most of your business come from, and what's your plan to do that, please?
So most of my business comes from my sphere and my database and past clients and referrals, that whole little sector. And so I just keep in touch with them quite a few times throughout the year, whether it's birthday cards, birthday calls, anniversary, happy house anniversary cards, and just doing little pop buys depending upon the time of year, the holidays, and just doing calls quarterly, and just definitely just keeping in touch with them is my main goal, because I was looking at where most of my business does come from, and it is my database. So I really heavily hit keeping in touch with them versus doing other things. I do a lot of other things like open houses. That's my other main thing, is I do a lot of open houses. I don't do a lot of I don't do a lot of canceled, expired, or FISBOs. I used to do a lot of canceled and expired, but I found that working in my sphere is more productive for me. And then I also have a farm that I do with a partner, and in Cape Creek, and Kim Nathanson. Right. And and we do really well there. So I focus a lot of energy on my farm as well. We do events quarterly. Coming up, we have like a pickleball tournament we're sponsoring this next weekend. We ordered little crossbody bags to give out at the pickleball tournament for all the players. So we do some things like that within the community to stay top of mind.
That's great. Yeah, and especially somebody, how long have you been in the business now? What, about 12, 13, 14 years, something like that?
Since 2005, so almost 19
Wow. Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, and when you've been in as long as you have been doing an incredible job, relying more on your sphere is perfectly normal. But initially, to get it started, doing all the other things you did, I think was what allowed you to have the kind of repeatable, predictable sphere that you have now, which is great.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to do all those other things to start out with to start your database. Right.
And then you and Kim decide, because you guys have both lived it. I think she still lives in there, and you did at one time, and so you guys both know all the people. I mean, it's a familiar area for you, and to work it together makes perfect sense. And boy, pickleball is really becoming the thing, isn't it?
It is definitely skyrocketed here in the Valley for sure. Yeah, and the average price, I guess, in Monte Vista, I should find out what it is. But there's not a home under like $850 or $900 in Monte Vista, so that would definitely help, get our average sales price up as well. So
absolutely, good. Okay, so you call your sphere. Do you handwrite them cards, or are you also using the VAC, or a combination of both?
I do handwritten cards with usually every mailer I do, whether it be the birthday cards or anything else. And then, I do some emails. I've started texting a lot because I know people just like to text sometimes versus physically talk on the phone for a while. So I kind of try and change it up. And the VAC, I started the new KV Core, so I put a couple of my clients on the drip programs with that, the follow-up programs, and so that I'm just working on that and seeing how that goes.
Good.
As well.
Cool. Yeah, I'm hearing good things about the KV Core. It seems like a lot of people like it. I think our current VAC is to keep your clients nurtured and in the know, and then the new one is kind of more of the prospecting end of it, which I think is a good combination to have both of those.
Yeah, I put a couple of people from open houses in there and just kind of seeing how that all worked out.
All right, cool. No, I love it. I think it's great. I think we're always, I think the company's great, especially corporate, bringing in all the new stuff and keeping us, look, the business is always evolving and changing, and I think it's good that we stay on the cutting edge like that. So good stuff.
Yeah.
Now, so that's what you do with your, well, before I move on, anything else you want to mention about Sphere? Like how you deal with them, the cards, the emails. Okay. All right, now farming. So that's a whole different thing, right? So give us a little schedule about what you guys do for farming so they get an idea of what you guys do, the two of you.
Sure. We do a newsletter quarterly. It's a really nice, newsletter that's a couple pages front and back. And then the inside is kind of just not generic. We think it out, but it's articles and things. And then the back side, we do a market snapshot of what that community specifically is doing, like what's actively on the market and the past sales. And then we do try and put like a blurb and a graph of, we usually try and take it either from like the Cromford report, put it in our own words to make it fit that community, and things like that. So we do a newsletter. We do, like I was saying, events we do quarterly. So pickleball tournament we sponsored. We're going to be doing a Harkins movie night in the park. So they have a Harkins movie truck that sells like popcorn and concessions, and we're going to partner with the HOA on that. Every year we put flags out in front of every single person's home for Veterans Day. And
that's cool.
Yeah, and everybody loves that. Everybody's like so thankful that we do that. And then what else have we done? We've done a Kona ice truck in the summer in the park.
Yep.
And so we do different events. In the winter we do a sock drive, and we do a hot chocolate and cookies if you donate some socks and blankets for the charity that we're doing that year. And then we'll do a canned food drive in November, and then they get a free pie if they donate so many cans of food. So we definitely involve like charity stuff, so it helps. They want to participate on a lot of that charity stuff because they do want to give back, and it helps the community. So that helps us get them involved as well. So yeah, just a bunch of events and things like that we do throughout the year, as well as some mailers and just to keep our name out in, the community. So.
Okay. Yeah, and you guys have altered in the last few years because you used to knock them until the HOA sent you that letter, and then you guys have to alter the way you did.
Yeah, we did.
The only reason
door knock.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell them what you used to do. That's why I want them to hear, and the only reason I say that is because you guys would be doing it a little different if you could, but you've altered the way you do it based on the no solicitation or whatever the HOA has.
Right. I mean, I think, since COVID and everything, the HOA kind of shut us down for a couple of years. So we definitely had to change our strategy and, do things a little bit differently moving forward. The HOA is being a lot more helpful now since we're out of COVID. They've been a lot more responsive to our events and partnering and things like that. But before, we were walking the neighborhood at least quarterly, if not more than that, so that we would be the face. We would be walking, and we would put mailers instead of mailing, because to cut costs, we would make little swag bags, and we would walk the neighborhood and door knock and leave them at their door if they didn't answer, and we'd see a ton of people walking their dogs, and then that would be a good time to just chat with the neighbors and have them get to know us. And then a couple neighbors, I guess, complained that they were out of town, and so their little swag bags were sitting on their doorstep for X amount of days, and so they were afraid, for
they'd be telling people, yeah.
So they said we weren't allowed to do that anymore, which was a bummer, but
but you guys made the adjustments, and you still do a bunch of business out of there too, because and think about it, for the HOA, it makes perfect sense for them to look good, to let you all do all the work, partner up with them, so you can have the movie night, you can have the Italian ice truck or whatever, you can have all those different things out there. I think it's I think it's great. It looks good for you, and it helps them too. So it makes perfect sense for them to want to partner up with you guys, because they get mileage from it too.
Yeah, and
especially the movie night.
It's a good selling point for certain people, if they have families and they want to be in an active neighborhood that does a lot of social events and things like that. It's a good selling point, I think, for the community. So. Right.
Okay, cool. All right. So thank you. I think they get a really good idea. Now tell them, for you, I want to hear your three most important points. I want to hear, so if I'm a new agent or if I'm an agent trying to take it to the next level, what are the three most important points you tell them to be concerned about?
Well, I guess definitely the database or your client base immediately. If you don't have one, that's probably your most important place to start, is just put everybody that you know in there, all your friends, your family. They say to put other people too, like your dentist or your hairstylist, your nail person, whoever, in there, and just start, prospecting them and calling them. And then, so I would definitely say that if you don't have that. If you're a new agent, I would definitely find a mentor. I did that my first 6 months, and I feel like that really helped me, of what to do and what not to do, or what I would do differently versus what, that agent did. But as well, they taught me, how to write the purchase contract and how to do some things that you really don't learn in school. So at least for, 6 months or your first couple of transactions, definitely get a mentor. And if you are already in the business and you don't need a mentor, I would definitely get more involved with open houses, previewing home tours, to network with other agents and know the inventory, whether it's a Paradise Valley luxury tour or the North Scottsdale tour or any of the tours. I think to preview and know the inventory is a really good thing. And what would be the third one?
Cool.
I guess having a schedule, like a real schedule. You don't just wake up and kind of wing it every day, because then you get lost, and then you just kind of, you're not as productive. So if you treat every day like a 9 to 5 or whatever hours you need it to be, whether it's like, 7 to 3 because you have kids or whatever it is, treat it like you have to really work those hours, and then you have that other time. And sometimes it definitely doesn't work out that way, because I've had, you think you're going to get off at 5 and then someone calls and you have to run to a showing or something like that. But for the most part, if you can keep a set schedule, it definitely keeps you on track and keeps you kind of motivated to get to that next level, I think.
Well, and someone is, because let's face it, not everybody in real estate does what you just said. But if you're somebody that wants to do the kind of business that you want to do, 15 million, you have to be organized. You have to be disciplined. I think your college obviously was definitely helpful. You had some great mentors. You have a great brand. It's also helpful that your significant other is also in real estate, so he understands where you have to miss that 5 o'clock dinner or whatever because you have a showing and you're probably going to sell something, or so it's good that you have a support staff around you too, right?
Right, definitely. It does help when people understand that you need to take a phone call, when you're supposed to be like having family time or whatever. So definitely helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps. And the schedule. I love what you said too, because all the top producers I talk to, they all say the same thing, and I said the same thing myself. It doesn't matter if you've been in the business one day or 20 years. You have to get that CRM organized, and the sooner you start, the easier it is. The more disciplined, the more, like you just said, you're not calling expireds and withdrawals anymore. You're working your sphere, you're working your farm, and you're working active open houses. That's enough to get you. But initially, you had to do more to fill that pipeline, get that CRM consistent, right? Repeat and referral business. And so everybody has to hear that, right? And the way you do that is, your third point is by having a schedule, a disciplined schedule that you follow. Look, you're in business for yourself. Now, I always like to say not by yourself with our company, but for yourself. You're a solo entrepreneur. You're getting paid based on what you're doing, right? And sometimes we learn that the hard way, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Right? And it's usually after you've gone on a nice little roll and you haven't been filling in the pipeline, and then all of a sudden the roll is over and you close them all and you go, oh no, I have nothing else
now. I have
nothing.
Because
right. So we all learn that.
Scramble to find another deal. Yep.
What? Okay, so now you've been in the business for almost 20 years. Okay, so if you could pick one thing that's like you get it before you get into real estate, you have this idea of what it's all about, business-wise, personal-wise. Like you said, meeting people, seeing houses. What has surprised you? Like, what is there one thing that jumps out? You say, you know what? I didn't really see this coming. I didn't really understand this part. What has surprised you the most since you've been in real estate now for almost 20 years?
Well, nothing really surprises me anymore.
What surprises me is that nothing.
Seen it all.
So does that surprise you about you now? You've got to the point where nothing surprises you anymore?
I guess. Yeah, there you go.
Well, it's good. By the way, that's not on my question list. Everybody needs to know that.
It's definitely challenging. It's different every day. So, not that I know it all or anything. It's just, I think when you have so many transactions, you know how to handle it a little bit differently, or like your emotion. Like, I still get emotional. I still get upset if like a client is upset with me, or like if something doesn't go the way I want it to. But you kind of react to it a little bit differently now as to like before. You kind of just, and I do still, sometimes I wonder how people, you're trying to help them, and some people just are so still, not appreciative. That's the one, I guess, one thing I get surprised about sometimes is how unappreciative some people are when you're trying to help them.
Yeah.
So. But,
I know people get really emotional during a transaction, but let's face it, Holly, you've toughened up. Even since I've met you, you're way more, I'm not going to say, you were I would say things bothered you more before. Now you understand that you can't help everybody, and you do your best, and it still bothers you, but not like it used to, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Sometimes, it's like you don't sleep at night because you.
Right.
I've tried to let some of that stuff roll off.
Well, that's because you care. You care about people, like you said. You started off in the health, in the health business. You're going to be a physical therapist or whatever. I mean, I have a cousin who's been one for like 30 years. So, I mean, that's helping people, and in the medical, you're helping people. And so then you get into real estate, and some people you just can't help, but most of them you can.
Yeah. No, for the majority, everybody is nice, and you just get those one-offs that.
Yeah.
So.
The ones that you just can't make. Some people you just can't make happy. And I was going to say, and then eventually when you've been in business long enough, who they are quickly. So a lot of times you end up exiting the situation yourself. You know what? I don't think this is a good fit. I think and I think that feels better than actually going through and having them waste your time. And some people you just can't help. I don't understand it. I don't know why. They say they want to do things, but it doesn't end up working that way. And I think eventually you can have a filter and you can sense who they are.
Right. Yes. I agree.
Absolutely. All right, Holly. Well, this has been awesome. I'm sure people got a lot out of this today. I just want to say thank you very much for taking your time out today. We really appreciate it, even though it is an hour later in Phoenix, only for a couple more weeks.
Oh, yeah, and then we have the time change. Well, we don't, but you guys.
Well, we have the time change, so it changes yours back to your normal. That this will now be it's now 8:28 here. It's 9:28 there, and we'll be on the same time again, Pacific Standard. So keep it rocking. You're the best. I really appreciate you taking your time out today. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Okay. You too.
Bye.